guess I have to change my clothes now. What's up guys, and thank you for stopping by the channel. Today's project is this older homelite chainsaw, and the problem is that it hasn't been used for quite a while, and now it won't start. Let's take a good look at it and find out what's wrong and hopefully fix it. In this video, we repair this particular chainsaw. However, it may not pertain to your piece of equipment. We'll discuss other possible solutions later in the video. This is a pretty handy little chainsaw. It doesn't weigh that much, and it's quite capable for most city dwellers. First, we have to make sure this thing is even capable of running. Otherwise, we're wasting our time. Start by pulling on the rope slowly, and feel the engine compression resisting the pull rope. This one feels pretty good. However, if yours doesn't fight back, then you'll need to do a compression test to confirm if the compression number is above 70 psi. Next, we'll spray some fuel into the filter cover and then try starting it. Well, fortunately, it ran for about a second, so let's keep diagnosing it. Make sure that yours actually ran and not just coughed or burped. If you're not sure, just add more fuel and try starting it again. So our first problem is that the primer bulb is not attached to the fuel cap anymore. This really isn't a problem though, because in a few pulls of the rope, it'll prime the lines for us. We just need to replace the fuel cap later on. After checking the fuel cap, the line going to it is in great shape, so we don't have to worry about replacing it at the moment. There's also some fuel in the tank still, so let's pour it out and take a good look at it. Well, it's a little heavy on oil, but it's not that bad. The good news is that there's no water in the gas, so corrosion shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to remove the handle so I can get a better shot at the carb for filming. The handle looks like it's never been taken off, so it's really fighting me at this point. Now let's remove the air filter cover and take a look at the carburetor. The hardest part is clearing the choke lever, but there is a notch in the cover that it slides through. So here's the air filter, and it's not in bad shape, but unfortunately this is when I realized that we have to take the entire chainsaw apart just to get to the carburetor. The first thing we'll do is remove the 4 screws on the recoil side of the cover. This would also be a good time to lubricate the recoil as well. There's also 2 screws on the top of the cover that need to be removed, and the throttle linkage can also be disengaged at this time as well. The next step is to remove the spark plug boot and remove the spark plug as well, and for some reason I didn't bother filming it. Believe it or not, we have to remove the muffler cover and the muffler as well. We need to slide the engine out of the main part of the cover, and the muffler is simply in the way. The next thing to take off is the bar and the chain. Like I said, we need to take this saw almost completely apart just to get to the carburetor. So we're almost ready to separate the engine and the cover. We just need to remove 2 more screws from the bottom. Use a screwdriver to pop off the switch and then disconnect the connectors. After that, we should be able to slide the engine away from the cover. there's still one oil line connecting the engine and the cover together, so we can't pull the engine away too far from the cover. We only need to get to the carb, so there isn't a need to completely remove the cover. With the air filter removed, we can now finally get to the two carburetor bolts. Before taking the carburetor out, we need to remove all the fuel and oil tank lines off the carburetor. So here's the line that goes to the oil tank. This must be some sort of pulse line that forces the oil out of the tank. Now with the carburetor off the engine, let's remove the top part of the carburetor and take a look at the pump side diaphragm. This side of the carburetor is really clean. Also, the two check valve flaps on the diaphragm are flat and parallel with the rest of the diaphragm. So let's move on to the usual suspect, which is the metering diaphragm. Okay, so the metering diaphragm is a little petrified, so it's not going to allow the fuel to flow through the carburetor like it's supposed to, so we'll need to replace it. I'm going to put some fuel into the pocket where the inlet screen is to test that the fuel moves through it and the needle properly. Simply reach underneath and depress the silver rocker arm and watch the fuel disappear from the screen. Well, luckily it disappeared, so we can now reassemble the carburetor with the new diaphragm. So what if the fuel doesn't disappear? Well, that means the screen needs to be removed and then solvent cleaned for a long period of time, or you can just replace it. So I get a lot of comments that I should just replace the carburetor completely and not rebuild it. And yes, that is the best plan almost every time. Now it's completely up to you if you want to clean and service a carburetor or simply replace it. For me, I usually service it. At this point, we can now install the carburetor to the engine and replace all the fuel and oil lines. It's very important that you install this carburetor gasket. If you don't, the engine won't run. There'll simply be a huge intake leak right before the carburetor. Don't forget to reinstall the air filter now, as it's much easier than when the engine is back in the cover. Reconnect the switch, but don't insert it into the cover just yet. We can do that at any point we want to. The last thing you want to do before pushing the engine back into the cover is to maneuver the spark plug wire through the cover first. Then you can push the engine back into place. As you're pushing the engine back into place, make sure you push the oil line that was still attached to the cover back into the oil tank. Otherwise, you might have some oiling issues. Now reconnect the throttle linkage and then check to make sure it's working like it's supposed to. While the engine is still loose, start the two top and bottom bolts, but don't tighten them just yet. Then replace the spark plug and the boot, followed by the muffler. Now it's time to replace the recoil along with its screws. Even though it's not really necessary, go ahead and replace the muffler guard just to make sure nobody gets burned. Now reinstall the bar and the chain, and make sure that the chain moves on the bar like it's supposed to before you tighten the nut. We're almost done. The last thing we have to do is replace the side handle, its guard, and then tighten the upper and the lower bolts. It's now time to fill up the gas tank with some fuel. I never realized how dangerous that could be. I think I want to keep a funnel with these tanks from now on. For right now, I'm just going to place the primer bulb in place and then try priming it just to see if it'll seal well enough to work. Well, unfortunately it doesn't work, but I'm sure it'll prime when I pull it over a few times. So it ran, but it didn't want to idle with the choke off. So that means we need to turn out the L screw a quarter turn to get it to idle. After getting it to idle, I then adjusted the H screw just to see where it was at. It was a bit on the rich side, which is just fine. I also had to adjust the idle, because increasing the fuel for idle has a tendency to slow the engine down. So other reasons why your saw might not work, it could be the compression. These engines are usually ran very hard, and if the oil mixture is off, then the engine will burn up rather quickly. So another problem could be a bad coil. It simply isn't supplying enough spark to the plug. This can be tested using a spark checker you can get online. So my question to you is, would you buy an old small chainsaw for cheap, or would you buy a more modern one but for a larger sum of money? I'm really interested in what you would do. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please feel free to ask any questions, and I hope to see you in my next video.